Last time, several months ago, on Beast World, Ignatius Serratus, Paladin of Dramphane, had joined up with the Delving crew that had formed during a wild encounter with the dungeon at the Bristle Inn. Their journey took them to Dole, where they learned of a radical anti-human hate group called the Ferals. Having helped deal with the situation there, Ignatius joined the group as they moved further north to Louvain. While in the city, Ignatius had taken note of the local so-called guards sporting weapons bearing the insignia of the Silverclaw Company. These military men turned out to be members of the Thieves' Army, a crime syndicate that is run throughout the Beast World. While aiding his companion Vegas in his own investigation into the Thieves' Army, he runs into a familiar face, Lieutenant Wendell, a Latine that had served alongside Ignatius during the Invader War. He showed respect to his commanding officer and mentioned he had parted ways with the Silverclaw Company some time ago, and was now working for the Thieves' Army as one of their primary recruiters. With the news of the Silverclaw Company becoming a distributor of arms and armors, in addition to their military company, Ignatius decides he needs to investigate his family business a lot more carefully the next time they encounter them. Nearly a month later, while journeying through Auria, Ignatius encounters the Silverclaw Company in person this time, at the port of Edelstan. He learns from the local harbor master that the company have a private dock here, and that their shipments have gone relatively unbothered. Ignatius decides to split off from the group for the time being to investigate his family's company, following alongside the harbor master of Edelstan, Mr. Tenzel. That we can change to travel scene. But we are all the way up here in Edelstan. In fact, let's make it simple. Do a little marker.
There he is.
So, it has been some time, and you've now parted ways with the party. They have continued back off to their residence for the night. You've decided to join Harbor Master Tenzel as he leads you towards the private harbors that have been acquired by the Silverclaw Company. Do you have any questions or anything that you decide to bother Tenzel with on your way over?
I think Ignatius would probe with comprehensive questions in the sense of like, how's finances? Broad strokes that would provide him with a lot of information while not seeming outwardly suspicious. Like, I'm new in Edelstan. What's the establishment here? How long, ago did we arrive? That sort of thing.
Right. And I think you also mentioned specifically to me that you were going by Serratus as kind of like a cover name, and that wasn't a known name for you. I think I made that
Correct.
mistake last time. So
We
they,
decided that wasn't it like Dragonborns would use a given name and not the family name until they've done something to prove it, or was that something we agreed on?
well, if that was a Dragonborn thing, that's not this setting technically, but I can
Sorry,
just
not
retcon it.
you get what I mean, right? Not
Yeah,
try.
this
It's
isn't the first
force of
time I've made
habit.
a mistake. So we will just say that he recognized you as being a part of the Silverclaw family. Uh, and yeah, as you would like just kind of inquire in general about how finances have been doing, uh, Tenzel mentions, well, things have been moving as steadily as they can be. Most of the shipments have to scurry around the edges of the waters so that they can get further up to places like here in Edelstan and Severport, as well as make stops across Arnaria in addition. For the most part, though, a lot of the financing comes from one of the trade lords in Vigneau. He seems particularly interested in the Silverclaw Company, but that I don't know too much about that.
Ignatius will nod along in the sort of I'm listening to you and interpreting the answers, but keep talking kind of way.
I do know that Maximilian is currently the one in charge of getting diplomatic relations set up, places to where the Silverclaw Company can distribute unbothered. That's been mostly his task for the time being. But your mother is still controlling most of the company interests and held out within the port over in the Trisoli Isles.
That's the Iluro, right? Now down there.
Not that specifically, but it is one of these three islands down here.
Okay.
There is a dock or harbor for a town that used to exist that was overrun by the dungeon, and supposedly the Silverclaw Company has cleared it out and claimed the town for themselves.
Hmm. Okay, is this something that Ignatius would already be somewhat aware of, or would it raise suspicion?
This would probably be news to you, specifically because the dungeon overrunning this town was probably something that happened many years ago. So you probably would know about that, but you wouldn't have known that the Silverclaw Company had taken it. As far as you were last aware, it was overrun with monsters.
Okay, so Revelia would be in the Trestle Isles. Ignatius would inquire as to the nature of the settlement, as what kind of economic venture.
Are you talking about in regards to Trisoli?
Yes, yes, the island in Trisoli.
Well, they've mostly set up a more fortified harbor. The dungeons itself don't seem to pose too much of a problem. Not for any of the soldiers stationed there, anyways. But a good forge network has been set up because there's a great deal of silver and iron on the island, and it's being used for a lot of the creation of arms and armors for distribution. There's also a magical forge that has been set up there as well, so that the armors and arms can be enchanted, so that they're a lot more durable and a lot more useful against creatures that are a bit more resistant to such.
Okay, in character, would Ignatius know the impressiveness of a magic forge? Like, is this something you could find in a city, or is this like a holy wow, you have one of those situation?
The most common magical forges that are known are Covenant forges, specifically from Aurea. Covenant Forge is a forge that imbues a magic item with the essence of a ghost, and the ghost acts as the inhabitant to the magic weapon, which also helps imbue it with extra power. Uh, Specifically, having a forge generated for making magic items is a little bit more uncommon. Uh, there are a couple different locations that may have such. Most likely, like uh, the Library of the Gate in Louvain. There's likely somewhere in there. There's most likely a forge of some kind. Probably not a traditional forge in the sense, but a place that could be used for enchanting an item. Uh, but an actual like forge for mass production and stuff is kind of really uncommon.
Okay, and would this place in Trestle be like the current what would the word for this be? The primary venture, the primary goal at the moment?
In terms of like the mining operation, the forge work, or
The overall direction of the company, since weapon manufacturing is a bit new.
in terms of like mainstay, yes, this is currently kind of like the acting headquarters for the company. So they're using this area as both operations and where they do logistics.
Intriguing. Okay. I need to think for a moment. So this specific city in Trestle is like a known location. Like I could pull up a map and point to where it is.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking about what would be the best strategy because visiting it feels dangerous.
Well, as you're kind of having this conversation with Tenzel, eventually you do arrive to their private harbors. You see a couple of individuals, clearly Silverclaw company mercenaries, uh, stationed outside. A lot of the crates and such that have been kept and marked as such are behind rather large fences, but you can see them through the fences. As you get closer, the two guards kind of just like raise their weapons, but like in kind of like a acknowledgement more than a threat. And they open the doors, and you and Tenzel step on in. And you are currently standing within a large dock. There is currently a ship here being unloaded. It is Venusian in nature. The workers themselves don't really stand out as anything specific to you. They don't look
Hired
like they...
hands.
Yeah, they look just like they are hired hands for the ship. They don't look like they belong to anybody in particular. Give me a perception check.
Ooh, we love those. Okay, come on. You give this to me, game.
First roll in months.
It's been months. I need a W right now. You know what? That is
Not bad.
fine by
Not
me.
bad. All right. With the 14, while you were scanning the area, there are two individuals of note that stand out to you. They're both roughly the same height, but they are shorter characters. One is a Latine, an otter woman. She has a eye patch over her left eye, and a pretty nasty scar that you can clearly see where it was the original injury that caused her to lose the eye. She is currently talking to a rather darkly dressed Finnick, who currently has his face for the most part concealed. But he very clearly has on armor and weapons strapped to him. He looks more... He's definitely different. He stands out from the rest of the group because you have the hired dockhands, and then you've got the very obvious Silverclaw like PMCs. But then you have like this guy who's just kind of standing out with like his kind of like roguish leathers and such. And he's currently talking to this Latine woman who seems to be giving orders and instructions to other people in the dock, like where to set crates and stuff down. So it seems like she might be the one in charge.
Does Ignatius recognize her at all by face or, oh, we got this otter woman over there who handles things in the past?
Let's see. Trying to figure out if you would have had encounters prior with this person.
Because Ignatius dipped on the whole affair pretty quickly after the whole Beast War issue.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that you do not immediately recognize her, but if I remember correctly from the last session that you were in, you were told specifically, I can't, actually, I don't remember if you told her specifically or if you overheard or if somebody else overheard. Uh, Something about the an individual who runs part of the docks who is rather nasty and known as the quartermaster. And you do, I think, were given a detail that they were a Latine.
I'm gonna put two and two together here and figure that that is the quartermaster right there.
Yes, as you and Tenzel step in, Tenzel kind of like rushes a little bit more quickly towards the Latine woman. The Fennec looks up, kind of sees you, and then sees Tenzel, and then just kind of like backs up a bit. Like not enough like he's leaving, but enough that he's like, okay, something's going on here. And Tenzel approaches the Latine woman. Shit, I gotta find her name again.
Before this goes any further, does the roguey-looking fella? I'm getting dire vibes from him.
Do you want to like insight check here?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. There we go. 25. With a 25 from a natural 20, he definitely has a very specific job. He's very much required here. More specifically, required probably closer towards this woman. Almost kind of like maybe a hired bodyguard for this person. But the way that he's like assessing you specifically when you came in, he's clearly like maybe recognizes you to a degree.
Okay, Ignatius will not acknowledge that for the moment. He will give the nod of, hi, I see you, but nothing past that, as presumably Tinzel is introducing him to the quartermaster.
Yeah, Tenzel like gives a quick curt bow and says, Miss Havato, there's a member of the Silverclaw family here. A little unexpectedly. And the teen woman like glances around Tenzel's legs with like her one good eye and just kind of like gives you a bit of a smile and just kind of waves you over. Tenzel just kind of like steps out of the way.
Okay, for what Ignatius knows of, does this woman seem to naturally be a military figure?
Looking her up and down, she definitely carries herself kind of like that. She definitely seems to have some kind of military experience, especially with how she's like barking out orders to some of the deckhands pretty rudely.
Ignatius will walk up and offer a handshake, not a salute or disregard for who she is. Something to give a little respect.
She sees you approach and extend your hand, and she takes it, and she shakes it. You can tell that she has definitely seen a couple injuries here and there, but she, for the most part, is pretty straightforward. So, I wasn't expecting any of your family's company up here at this time. What brings you? I don't think I recognize you.
Truth be told, I didn't expect to find any of my family's business up here as well. I simply stumbled upon the silver that I recognized.
Ah, you recognize the insignias. That makes sense. So, what relations do you have to the Silverclaw family?
He will offer a small bow forward, Ignatius Sotratus, and go back to maintaining proper demeanor afterwards, just as a little introduction.
She kind of like perks up a little bit when you mention your name, and she smiles a bit more. Ah, one of the late heroes of the Invader War. It is an honor to meet you personally. Well, if that was the case, I would have rolled out more of a red carpet for this. I apologize that you had to see us in such a disheveled shape, and she's kind of like says that with like venom as she's like glancing towards some of the deckhands.
Disheveled? Come now, this is a new enterprise. It will grow into itself in time.
Ah, I'm glad you agree. Maximilian has very similar energy when he is getting us our leases for various harbors. He's got quite the tongue on him.
Speaking of the Little Devil himself, has he been around lately?
No, not at the moment. He's currently acquiring us a new harbor over in Arneria. Negotiations there have been more strict. They're wanting to tax us a lot harder for such.
Is the price of doing business, I suppose.
Yes, well, we're hoping some of the trade lords' influences will be able to alleviate those taxes. But, that's neither here nor there, nor currently my prerogative. We have, shipments to, disperse with. I take it you would like to see the merchandise?
It would be my honor to see what you have brought for our house.
She gestures towards the Finnick, and he looks up for a second, and then he kind of like pulls a knife out and like switches to holding it by the blade, and then hands it over to the Latine. And she walks over towards one of the nearby crates and just kind of like uses it to pry it open. And inside you see not just weapons, but also like full plate sets of like armor. And this is like armor that has been silvered all over. This is very, very high quality magic armor and weapons. And the weapons vary in all sorts of types. You've got your glaives, you've got your long swords, you've got your great swords. There's a couple short swords. There are kite shields as well. There are maces, some flails. There's just a wide assortment of different types of weaponry. But it all seems to be, the way it is all distributed kind of gives off the feel that this isn't stuff that they're selling to just random people. Like, they're not setting up a stall to distribute to people of interest. They are selling these like en masse to very specific groups.
Okay. Ignatius will walk up to the crate, gesture to, I don't know, a long sword, and
Mm-hmm.
may I?
Oh, absolutely. She will pick it up with relative ease and hand it over to you. The sword is longer than she is tall.
All right, he'll give it a few test swings, standard practice movements one would do with a sword, just to get a feel for it, to make it look like he's invested.
Okay. Just do a performance check for me. Just for
Oh
fun.
dear.
It's pretty good. Yeah, you give it some flurries and some finishes to it, and it's very lightweight for a longsword. You can hold it pretty easily with one hand, and it just like the way it's like swings across, it is well balanced in how it's made. Whoever's in charge of putting these weapons together knows what they're doing. This is a very experienced smith. Now, how they're being enchanted and such is a different story.
That's probably not something that you can understand just from a glance, I imagine.
Yeah, that is something you would need someone of like very good arcane nature to distinguish.
Okay, he will present the sword back to the quartermaster, handle first for her to take it and return.
She takes it and flips it back into one of the sheaths that was provided for it. So, I wasn't quite expecting you up here. Of course, obviously you weren't expecting us either, but perhaps this is a good business opportunity. We have a delivery to make, and it would be gracious if a Silverclaw themselves were overseeing the operation.
By all means, I would love to deliver such a product myself. I'm sure Revalia is pleased with it. Revelia, yeah.
Well, let me go and grab some of the paperwork inside. Follow me, please. I will show you our current trade routes. And she leads you into like one of these offices that is just kind of like cropped up on the dock here. You notice as she's getting closer to the office, though, there is a taller canine individual kind of like standing guard at the door, dressed in an almost similar way as the Fennec. And when he sees the quartermaster approaching, he kind of like steps out of the way but opens the door for her. His eyes definitely are focused on you, though, as you follow her in.
Do these folks give me like a feral vibe at all?
You did such a good insight check. Do me another perception check just to see.
Aw, rip, pour one out.
Kind of hard to tell. But you're led into this office, and the doors close behind you, and you can see that the canine, because there's like a very visible window in the doorway, and he's like moved back into position. He's very clearly got one specific job, and he's taking it very seriously.
Stand in front of the door and look very menacing about it.
Yeah. But she comes into the office, and there's like a stool nearby so that the table is about can be up to her height, and she like climbs up onto it, and she grabs a nearby scroll and just kind of like unfurls it, and there is a fairly large map of the beast world, and she kind of gestures for you to come over and look. So our current shipment has arrived from Arloris into Edelstan here, and our next shipment needs to go out towards Severport, but we don't have the means to navigate fully around Arneria to get up to Severport ourselves yet, so while we have the harbor there, we're going to try and see if we can't just move the goods through Jaegervault, all the way across the Stranic. If you want to give me a investigation or perception check, I'll let you pick up on any other things of interest on the map.
Man, I'm good at neither of these, but I still got a +2 on perception and a big old goose egg on investigation. Let's do perception again. Don't fail me now. I am so good at
Very
this.
nice. Got so many different individual tabs open. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. So you know that the main harbor is set up in the Trisoli Islands.
Yeah, Chisoli, and we had the shipment from Arloris down here.
The shipment went out toward Arloris and then came back up towards Edelstan itself. And they have a dock set up in Severport. You can see that marked on the map. You can see farther down in Arneria, there is a question mark near a location marked Lantern Bay. This seems to be one of the harbor areas that maybe Maximilian was trying to get into.
Is that in Severport?
No, this is in Arneria, all the way to the south.
Oh, okay. I was looking at like Medroilian for some reason. Okay.
Yeah, the Lantern Bay, very, very, very far south of Arneria. There is also another question mark near Port Strega, but there's also some scribblings off to the side that says not likely.
Port Strega.
Which is close to,
I see it.
Ostana.
Port
Yeah.
Strega, yeah.
There is also a very visible, planned shipping route that seems to run through the Strait of Glass, which is between Soursport and what is that? Fort Tayriran? Tayriran? I can't pronounce that right now.
Powell Rain?
Yeah.
I got nothing
It's
on it.
between Alamance and the Batyan, so there is a shipping lane right there, and it looks like that's probably one of the areas they plan to use. In addition to that, there is a very big mark over in Southwinds, but that is marked differently. It's not marked as like a harbor for use? Question mark? But it's kind of like the way that the icon kind of denotes the city kind of indicates sort of like maybe a headquarters of some sort.
Ignatius will inspect it and listen silently as she details the nature of the journey towards Dread Deverport. Sorry, I can't move my mouth while I'm
You're good.
talking. Okay, huh. It seems as if we have the entire continent itself surrounded. Quite an impressive state of affairs you've managed here.
Yes, well, with the trade lord's help, many things are possible, especially since a lot of the trade routes have to run through Vinio.
So then you were saying something about running through Jaegervault, was it?
Yes, in order to ensure that we can get this shipment through in time, we have a need to go through Jaegervault. This is really the only way to get from here to the Stranic and to Severport. We also have a shipment to drop off there in Jaegervault to a particular group to pick up. Nothing too big, nothing too fancy. Should relatively go unnoticed. But the destination up to Severport is priority, as we have the Commodore's flotilla up there, and they have been waiting on this shipment of arms and armors for a while now.
Commodore's flotilla. Is that something that's familiar to Ignatius?
Give me a history check. You might actually know this one.
Oh, I'm so good at history.
And when you say it and I watch the roll, I'm like, I don't know what your modifiers are, so I can't tell if you're being sarcastic or...
Yeah, it's bad. I won't lie.
Alright, with an 8, the name doesn't really come up of anything in particular. You do know that flotillas are kind of more of an Yoshin thing, so it's kind of weird that there's a flotilla all the way up here in Aurea. At least as far as you're aware, I don't think you have enough knowledge on, like, Orion Navy to really know if that's a thing.
He's lived for 440 years. The recent stuff kind of washes off his back. Ignatius will inquire. A flotilla, you say?
Yes, the Commodore's fleet has moved up into Severport. He's currently getting some of their local warsmiths to kind of help improve their ships. I believe there was also a commissioned, what was it? A siege breaker of some kind. I don't know the exact word. He was having a ship produced itself, sort of like a mix between Orion and, Vinyoshin. Something strong but fast. I believe the production on that is almost done, but it has been a heavy investment from us.
What a curious idea that is. I know not of nautical affairs, but I do wonder.
We also have to, ensure our trade routes are properly protected, and nothing does that more intimidating than a ship made of iron.
Of iron, you say?
Indeed. This usually does pretty well up here in Aurea, where they tend to push through ice shelves. Makes it quite durable, but also is just overall very protective against most ballistas.
Wow, that must be an impressive sight to behold. I eagerly await to see it in Cyberport myself. Hopefully, maybe even the launch of it.
That would be fantastic. I'll have to let the Commodore know that you'll probably be heading that way before too long. I will also probably send Aiden, he's one of my best men, with you, just to help oversee everything.
That would be appreciated.
If you have additional questions, he's the one to ask.
Ignatius will inspect the map one more time, and he'll sort of point to other locations, like the Lantern Bay and around in our area. Is that where dearest brother of mine is investigating at this moment?
That's where he was last sent, yes. We haven't had word with him in some time, but I imagine the Trade Lord has, so if you run into him, you could probably inquire further.
It is on the other end of the continent, after all.
Yes, we don't get that much information from down south as quickly.
And then I'll point to Port Strega, and just sort of not say anything, but just show that, hey, what's that? Like physically.
We tried to set up shop in Port Strega, but they they were not particularly keen on it. Doesn't seem like any of the Alcaldes there really appreciated our presence. It was more conflict than it was worth.
And it appears, are we not headquartered in Prestana? What appears to be happening in the Southwinds?
She looks towards that for a second and then just kind of like nods. The Silverclaw Company, in particular, is sustained over closer to Arloris and Prestana, but our headquarters, in particular, our Trade Lord's headquarters, are in Southwinds. He is the Trade Lord of Southwinds, after all.
You'll have to pardon the faux pas, but I have not acquainted myself with the trade lords of Southwinds.
Ah, that is fair. He tends to not be too known in the public eye. He is Lord Treyarch. He's a serving individual, quite tall.
I look forward to possibly meeting him one day when I inevitably end up over on that side of the world.
I imagine that would be a very enlightening conversation. He's a very fascinating individual.
See. Our
Yes,
primary operations out of Trestley are lovely localized centers in Southwind, and we're working on ventures in the north. Yes. Of
we have needs to be distributed everywhere. Our
course.
biggest buyer right now is the Thieves' Army.
Is that so? Makes sense, I suppose.
Yes, they have many veterans who are in needs of more proper arms and armor for various duties that they uphold. In fact, on your way through Jaegervault, you'll be dropping off one of these supplies, one of these particular crates to a group of Thieves' Army veterans who happen to work in Jaegervault.
Oh, okay.
Again, nothing too heavy, nothing that should warrant too much attention.
Of course. Now, out of my own personal curiosity,
Yes,
would one be able to buy such weaponry wholesale?
we have considered it at the moment. At, we're currently getting different outfits equipped at the time being. Going in for personal and friends discounts first. And once everyone else is settled, we will probably see about how that market opens up.
I imagine once the mark is made with the quality, people will be clamoring to buy it.
Yes, I imagine there's many upstart delvers who would invest a good amount of gold into equipment that would help them survive their delves, at least when they're starting out. Anyways, did you have any more questions for me?
Thinking for a moment. I don't know if there's a polite way to say, "Hey, can I buy a sword?"
You could probably ask.
Yeah. All right, Ignatius will breach the topic. Would it be possible for one such as myself to see about equipping with a weapon like one of these?
Silverclaw? Absolutely. No objections.
Of course, that generosity is appreciated.
I would expect nothing less, especially since I imagine if I were to deny such a request, I would get an earful from Revelia.
Oh, come now, she cannot be all bad.
She holds a pretty tight rank, but I respect it.
I imagine. Is she the one operating out of Tresolia, perchance?
Operation is her idea.
I'd expect nothing less. Now, I'm curious. Where would Father Dearest be? I imagine he's still in Vinyo, perhaps, with Jessamine?
I haven't kept up too much with your family affairs, so I'm not particularly keen where anyone else is at the moment.
Just my own curiosity. I don't expect a ledger.
You're good. You're clearly on your journey through Oria at the moment. Where are you headed, by the way? What brought you here?
I was with a group of other Delvers, in fact. Circumstances brought us together, and we were journeying northward, and we happened to stop at Edelstan. So I figured, what better a time to stop and assess what my family's been up to?
Very interesting, departure. You're taking up delving. I imagine it was something of necessity.
I've truly been wandering for the last couple dozen years. Seems like a while, but such time is paltry.
I imagine as such for a dragon, of course. Can't quite know what that's like personally, but I respect it. You clearly need to find things to do. It'll be very helpful to help out the family business.
Quite. I might see about reintroducing myself to Mother and Father Dearest. It has been too long.
Alright, well, where are my manners? Do you have any place to stay for the night?
I can think of no better place to rest than within Silverclaw territory.
Well, we do have a very well defined barracks set up here on the dock, specifically for us. Uh, there are more private quarters for officers upstairs. We can accommodate a bunk for you for the night before you leave with the convoy in the morning.
That sounds delightful. I, once again, appreciate your offerings.
Of course. She like turns around and starts to like scroll the map back up. And she opens a nearby drawer and dumps it inside. And if you glance over her shoulder, which not too hard with height difference,
That's short.
If you glance over her for a second, and like peek at the drawer that she's dropping it in, you do notice that there is a iron mask in there.
Not phased at all. Cool. No surprises. Understood. He will say nothing of it and just observe and make note.
All right. Well, I will inform Aiden and let him know of the situation, and I will have somebody show you where the barracks are and give you a tour around.
That would be quite appreciated.
Of course, anything for Silverclaw. And she will come over and kind of tap the door, and the canine will move out of the way, but then open it again for her. She heads out, and returns back towards the Fennec that you had saw earlier, begins talking to him in particular. And after a little bit of the conversation, he nods and starts approaching you. And she seems to go back towards the dock and is like returned back to barking orders again. But this small brown Fennec, dressed in pretty dark leathers, approaches, kind of looks up towards you. You can barely see his face through his hood.
Ignatius would speak first. I knew I recognized you from somewhere.
Really?
Quite. It's been many years, but recognizing faces has always been a bit of a strong suit of mine.
Well, it's interesting because I didn't quite recognize you.
He will put on a sort of mock, prim and proper, like, oh, how dare you not recognize a face such as mine? But clearly having a laugh of it.
Most Silverclaws that I've met are more pompous than you, at least. You seem well reserved.
Which nature serves one well while wandering.
That we can agree on. I am Aiden. I am going to be your quote-unquote guide as we traverse the wastes to Severport.
Ah, the Quartermaster spoke highly of you. It will be my pleasure to enjoy your company.
Splendid. Let me show you to the officers' barracks, so you can get acquainted where you'll be staying for the night. He kind of like leads onwards, and he moves pretty quietly. Obviously, for his size, it's not as difficult, but he, like, as he's moving around, like, the moment, like, you, like, lose sight of him for a second, it's like he just disappears.
Is this magic, or is he just small and sneaky?
Uh, I'd say insight.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna pretend. Wait, no, I am actually good at this. Fuck.
Kind of hard to tell. Probably just small and sneaky.
Been months, and I can't get away. Alright, Ignatius will log that little tidbit for later.
Alright. He eventually leads you to a very nicely put together, barracks setup, that has several different, like, conscripted Silverclaw mercenaries there. Some of them are, like, a bit more casual because they're currently, like, resting up in the barracks. A lot of them are, like, treating to their armor or their weapons. But like when you step in, they kind of like it's all stand at attention almost. They're immediately treating you like an officer.
Ignatius will give the universal like hand wave of at ease, but not say anything.
Aiden takes for a moment and then kind of looks up back towards you. You definitely are a Silverclaw. and just keeps moving.
I have that effect on people. I can't help it.
He leads you up a set of stairs that leads into a little bit more of a private barracks, like individual rooms set up. This is more of like a well. This is very fancy for a barracks area. It has like sort of like a red carpet deal going on. It is very well lit. The there's more decor here than you would expect for a barracks. It is very Venyoshan. But he leads you to like one of the empty residents and opens it up, and there's a very nice bed in here. Clearly not a barracks bed.
Truly is home away from home.
The quartermaster has instructed me to let you know that you are able to stay here if you wish. Otherwise, you are free to roam the docks and inspect as you please. And if you have any questions, to come to me first before bothering the quartermaster. She's going to be very busy in the time being.
I have to imagine as such.
Well, I hope you enjoy your stay and everything is to your liking.
Of course. See you in the morning, I presume?
Yes, first thing. And
Right.
he doesn't even kind of like wait for you to close the door or anything. He just starts heading off back down the hall. And you
Cool.
now have a little bit of alone time.
Ignatius is going to discard his armor for the moment, at least get him down to something that's not as flashy. Like, he'll still clearly be a silver dragon in a
Yeah.
place that's known to be run by silver dragons. Not incognito, just less obvious. And I kind of want him to walk the grounds and not, intrude in anywhere illegal or like break any rules. Just survey the location, see if there's anything weird that sticks out.
Okay. Uh, yeah. Say, give me another perception. Oh, that teeter.
Why? It was 18. It was 18.
Yeah, I saw it.
I
Yeah,
know it doesn't
you.
mean anything, but it still kills me every time.
So, once you've kind of like dressed down for a little bit, and you head out, uh, you get like very occasionally, like you'll walk past like a Silver Claw mercenary or two, and they will stop and just kind of salute you out of respect as you walk by. Uh, some of them look like intimidated, like as you like draw near. They very clearly have some kind of like respect for you, even though they don't know you, just because you happen to be a silver dragon.
Deep-seated trauma response.
Yeah, kinda. And they, for the most part, kind of like just stay out of your way, and you have pretty much free access to the entire harbor. Well, specifically the private harbor that the Silver Claw Company owns. But you see at the moment that there is just one ship, the Venyoshan ship that you saw before, that is being offloaded. Uh, it doesn't require too much more before they do finish up. Uh, a lot of the crates are not super interesting. They're marked with obviously the Silver Claw insignia, uh, but nothing in particular stands out as weird or unusual from what information you've gathered so far.
What's the name of the boat? You don't need,
Hmm.
just say I know the boat name and you can come up with it later.
Yeah, I will give something later, but very obviously Venyoshan boat.
Okay, I mean, ship registries are a thing, so that's a save for later.
Yeah.
Oh, How many beds were in the barracks? Could he get like an accurate count of how many people are here?
I would say it's probably like at least 2 dozen. And then the rooms you saw upstairs, if you just were counting doors, I'd say there's probably about like 8 or 10.
So what,
But
24 foot soldiers and 10 officers?
you do notice that some of the officer rooms were not occupied, as you were able to get one relatively easily. So
What,
probably
5?
probably less than that, but roughly.
Okay, so not the biggest detachment, but still definitely a presence. Yeah, Ignatius would probably just finish his nightly walk. It might turn into just him actually walking and enjoying the night air before going to bed, perhaps.
All right.
Unless he picks up on something, he's not the kind of fella to go around shimmying lock.
All right. For the most part, relatively uninteresting. It is dock work. It is stuff being moved from the dock, getting processed, and then getting loaded up onto a wagon for the shipping out tomorrow. Uh, for the most part, everything looks relatively normal. You do eventually retire for the night and are awoken the next day with a knock on the door, just just to get your attention.
Alright, Ignatius will get up, make him moving about known, and get dressed and ready for the day. See if they have a little complimentary breakfast, perhaps.
Oh yeah. Attached to the barracks is a smaller mess hall, and you do see down there that there are plenty of both like Silver Claw mercenaries as well as some of like what you would recognize to be officers who have very similar armor, but their armor also has more of like a red flare to it, kind of like denote their authority.
Add a red tinge to Silver Claw armor to make them look important. Got
Yeah.
it.
Um, they're there. You do notice that the quartermaster is there as well, in addition to the canine you saw earlier, and Aiden, who you're now more familiar with. Uh, and you also see another canine, a lot more like tall and lanky looking, Doberman. He's also over there. He's currently talking with the quartermaster.
Huh. Okay, Ignatius will politely sit nearby and just try to listen, but not make too much of an effort to do so.
Okay. Uh, quick, just give me a perception. We'll see how much of this you can catch. I know you're rolling pretty like all over the place right now.
No athletics checks, no persuasion. Could I could I get an insight? Perception. Here we go.
He went up 1 point.
You know what? It's an improvement.
Yeah. For the most part, doesn't seem to be anything really interesting. Uh, the only thing of interest that you've caught is that this particular individual seems to have come up from Elements recently, but
Huh.
no known locations or descriptions.
Cool. That only narrows it down to 2/3 of the goddamn continent.
But after they're done talking with the quartermaster, they very are given like a very quick and curt nod before they turn around to leave. They're very clearly heading somewhere else at the moment.
That doesn't narrow it down at all, but that is still good to know. Huh.
But you're served a pretty hearty breakfast. It looks like everyone eats roughly the same in here. They kind of like produce one thing in particular and just kind of like serve that to everybody, but it's still decent quality food for barracks food.
Officers get an extra slice of bacon. Can we say that the pretense of purchasing a weapon or equipment from here is handled after sesh just to save time?
Yeah, if you're talking about like were you like inquiring and getting to like one of the silver claw like weapons or something?
Yeah,
I
that
would
silver
have
claw
said that
weapon, maybe armor.
the quartermaster would have literally just given you one. It would have not been something you would have had to purchase. It is your family company after all.
I mean, he'd still want to see about buying armor, and I'm not sure that armor is getting comped on the company card. Yeah, no, what am I talking about? That stuff's expensive.
Again, I think if you were to inquire, I think they would also just kind of give it to you as well.
Yeah, hey, can I get a suit of armor and a cool sword? Fuck yeah.
I've already dropped the silver longsword into your thing. I don't know if there's silvered armor, but I will double check. There's very... Oh, this might be it.
What better way to present one's wares than to walk in gleaming and wearing it? Yeah, that'll make a show. Silver knight and the silver armor.
What type of armor would you be looking for in particular? Like, are you looking at like scale mail, plate, half plate, chain mail,
Plate.
chain shirt?
Let's see. Plate only has the dex limit. I only have 12 decks, so it really doesn't matter. Yeah, a silvered longsword, shield, and plate armor. That sounds good to me.
All right. Let's see, where's it at? Right. Oh, not that. Wrong one. Okay, I'm gonna end up throwing to you a plate armor of cold resistance.
Damn, alright.
Whether or not you want to put that on is up to you. It is a attunement.
You know what? Wearing it on the way into Severport would probably look good.
Help you blend in.
Yeah. Like, Silver Dragon kind of stands out, but a guy in silver armor, that could be anyone.
A silver dragon in silver armor.
Just ignore the horns.
Alright.
That visor down.
After a bit, Aiden actually approaches over to where you're sitting. Getting enough of a fill this morning?
I expected nothing less, and I was quite satisfied with what was on offer.
Splendid. Our plan is to leave here shortly, within the hour. We're heading straight to Jaeger Vault and more or less shooting straight for Severport afterwards. The shipment will be arriving directly in and is going to be inspected. And hopefully, if anything comes up of it, we can deal with it.
If
Having,
anything comes up, I'll see to it myself if need be.
I was about to say, your help would definitely be appreciated. Anyways, I will see you with the convoy.
Until then,
He kind of like hops off the seat and starts making his way outside.
hey, Silver Shield, would that be doable as well? I think I mentioned it, but it wasn't added.
Yeah, I could look into that.
Or was that just feels like it'd be a shield? Parentheses, silver though.
Pretty sure there's a silver shield. Yeah, that's the wrong one. Where is it? Ba-ba-ba. Oh, nice. Yeah. Let's see, that's gone in. Surprised that one's not attunement.
Huh.
It does give you a +2 bonus to initiative too, as long as you're not incapacitated, but obviously.
Oh wow, that unconscious guy's. I don't know what's going on there, but he's going fast.
Alright. Christ, your AC is insane.
It's what I'm here to do, baby. Hit me with a truck if you need me.
I think that shield's calculating incorrectly.
Probably.
Oh. No, apparently it isn't. I'm probably going to have to nerf that. Yeah, that's a +4 shield, apparently.
Okay, yes.
Because, like, your AC is 25. I don't know why it's calculating this extra bonus. Yeah.
Yeah, we can that's kind of egregious, I won't lie.
Yeah, or we'll put on the normal shield for now.
That's good to
And,
me.
yeah. Okay. Anyways, I imagine you eventually head outside to join with Convoy.
Yep. We'll finish
Okay.
up breakfast and I don't know, probably do some stretches and calisthenics before the journey.
Okay. The wagon itself is currently being driven by one Silverclaw officer, and you can see two other Silverclaw mercenaries alongside, and Aiden kind of sitting on the back of the wagon, just waiting for you to show up. So in total, it's you and four others. Relatively light for a convoy.
Well, you said it was only one wagon, right?
Yeah.
Could be worse. Could be better, but could be worse.
The wagon is pretty much just stocked with like several of these crates. I think there's like 6 of them in total. But they're strapped down over the back of the wagon, and the officer, upon seeing you, kind of gives you a formal salute as well. All right, tighten up. We're moving out.
Ignatius will return the salute in the sort of casual way that's expected of a higher rank and get on.
All right. So then, you begin traveling with this convoy towards Jaegerwald. And that takes you, gosh, what's the distance here? Takes you about 5 days to fully reach Jaegerwald.
What's the mile per gallon on this thing?
You guys, with the average moving speed, it gets you about 44 miles.
Yep, better than my Honda.
But, after several days have passed, you do eventually arrive at Jaegerwald. Try to switch music. Alright. Have you been to Jaegerwald before?
Would Jaegerval have been a conflict point in the prior war?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Frankly, this might be his first time in Oria.
Very fair. Yeah, so you arrive towards the side of this very vast mountainside, where the river starts to kind of like curve into it. And you see, like, carved out of the side of the mountain are these massive gates. There's like two like towers that kind of like sit on either side of the gate that are risen up into the mountainside itself. And what almost kind of seems like a throne of sorts that overlooks the entryway into this gate. The gate itself is huge. God, if I had to estimate, maybe probably about like 200 feet. But the gates are open for the most part, and there are lots of travel happening here. You're coming in, and you notice that there is great deal of like merchants, locals, and delvers just kind of like coming and going in pretty rapid succession. This place is very busy. As the convoy pulls in, they do eventually get flagged slightly by one of the Orion Watchers, who grabs the attention of another local guard and kind of pulls them over to inspect the convoy at the moment. They look towards the officer up on the top and is like, "State your business. What is this military presence that you're bringing with you?" "We are currently delivering a shipment here through towards Severport. It is of utmost importance that we are not impeded." And one of the Watchers just kind of responds with, "Do you have any kind of documentation?" At which point the officer is starting to look a little annoyed.
Do we need such documentation, sir?
Well, for armed transport like this, usually you're transporting something of high value. It would be good to have documentation on what is being moved and where.
This is merely commerce, dear friend.
Make a persuasion check.
Alright, come on, this is the one skill.
The one skill.
I the one skill, it's real! I have points in this one!
Very nice. With the 23, the guards just kind of like look at each other for a minute. It's like, alright, go ahead. Move along.
Easy. God, it's satisfying to get something over a 12.
Aiden, who's just been kind of like riding in the back of the wagon this whole time, is like, nice. He eventually does jump up towards like the top of like one of the crates and kind of like directs towards the officer. "We need to head to the Forge District. That's where our first drop-off is."
Ignatius will gesture forward with his hand, then lead away.
The wagon continues to move through. This city is very like long. A lot of its individual buildings are carved into the mountainside walls, and that's how a lot of different areas are treated. You do eventually come across a market that is just gigantic. It is one long hallway of market stalls, just in every direction, top to bottom. It feels like if there is anything you wanted to find, this is a place to, like, find it. This goes on for, 2 miles, before you eventually, reach an area that, is very heavy with, like, heat and soot. And you notice that, further into the mountains, moving a bit more northward, there's this very large forge district, and there are certain areas that have kind of like open sources of like lava that are being pulled from somewhere within the mountain, that are acting as like the natural heat substitute for these forges.
That's impressive. I don't really have anything else to say.
As the convoy moves further in, you do eventually find that they do stop further into the district, and a crate is unlatched from back and is dropped over the side, towards this particular shop. There's a helmet shop, essentially. It's very mundane looking in appearance. It doesn't look to be anything in special. But you do notice, as you have arrived here, you do see what looks like the same individual that you saw, not this morning, but the morning when you left. The one that was talking to, the quartermaster. The same, like, Doberman canine. Which is kind of weird, because for him to get here, he would have to have left, like, very shortly after you.
I was talking with my mic unmuted, my mic muted because I was making hand motion.
I was so confused because like you weren't responding.
Okay, yes, sorry. He was not in the convoy. He's here, and so I don't know how he got here so fast. Ignatius would sort of like non-verbally get Aiden's attention and gesture towards the fella, and like kind of shrug his shoulders, raise his hands, the sort of universal "Hey, what the hell" kind of gesture.
You saying this like gesture towards like Aiden?
The Doberman. I'm pointing the Doberman out to Aiden and like acting confused because I'm a little confused. I won't lie.
He glances over and just kind of like nods, and then he thinks back for a moment. Oh, twin brother.
You know what? I've heard weirdness. I'm gonna insight that, and I know he's not. He's probably not lying, but like, I'm not gonna sleep if I don't insight this.
Yeah, no, valid. Insight away. Yeah, he seems to be pretty straightforward. It seems to be a twin of whoever that was there before. Not sure why they're dropping off a crate here in particular. This doesn't look like anything of significance. It's clearly not an area for the Thieves' Army. And, like, this is a helmet shop. They wouldn't stock all this, like, extra armor and weaponry.
Okay, so I'm not gonna pry into the exact operations of this smuggling ring that's probably going on in front of me. Because a helmet shop taking in all this military-grade equipment, yeah, it's suspect as hell. But I'm not gonna get out of the vehicle and be like, "Oh, how do you do? Random inspection. I'm one of the owners of this place." there's no way to casually pull that one off, I feel.
Yeah, but you are definitely logging. There's something weird about that. That's unusual. But the Doberman takes the crate and with the help of like one of the mercenaries brings it inside. And then the mercenary returns and the wagon continues on.
Is that the only drop off in the city?
Yes, that's the only drop we have to do. Oh, the rest is designated for Severport.
Intriguing. Such a small delivery for Jaegerwald.
It's very specifically trade lords' orders.
To a business such as that? Just curious, though.
I tend not to think too much about Treyarch's intentions. He usually sees a much bigger picture than I.
You know what they say about forests and trees?
No, I don't.
You miss the forest for the trees. Something like that.
He just looks confused now.
The metaphor. Bigger picture, small picture. We don't have the full view, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Very strange way to put it.
Question. Jaegerwald. Is it the whole ravine through the mountain?
Yeah, you see this long ass line? This is the city.
God, that is long.
Yeah, it traverses. You remember how I said there was like 2 miles of market? Yeah, that's part of this. It is
like,
stretched across this length.
oh, honey, I'm gonna be late for work, but it's in 2 days. Yeah, exactly.
But once the shipment drop off, you guys are pulling through Jaegerwald. You do end up staying the extra night there just to recover because you came in a little bit late. And once you've gotten up and got something to eat, the convoy continues to move out into the Stranic. This part of Auria is a lot more hills and a lot more open. But you do see the mountainsides kind of like surrounding it everywhere. It feels weirdly remote at the same time.
Who designs a city like this, honestly?
Just with a bit of travel, your crew do continue to move across the Stranic. Eventually, you'll make your way to Prievzevsky, where you'll make a stop. Mostly to get supplies. Extra, like, foods and rations and stuff like that. That way you can kind of, like, rest up, not be in the wilderness, and continue along your time.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, the cultural origin for some of these names. Like, Iskfisk and Helton feel distinctly Slavic.
Yes, most of Auria is Slavic in nature.
Ulavori is Sami, Estonian, Finnish. Prozevsky is some sort of Ukrainian, Russian, Belarusian. Gorky, I swear that's an actual location in Moscow.
Yeah, I think Gorky is Russian. But that's a lot of the inspiration for Auria.
Yeah. This is just curiosity from an anthropological level more than anything.
Alright, give me perception check.
Oh, I'm so good at this.
It's my favorite thing to ask for.
I'm fucking tired, boss.
It's just you. I can't ask for it from anyone else. Alright.
Finally.
With the 19, as your convoy moves further away from Prievzevsky, you start to make your way through a bit of a narrow pass leading just around Mount Mirror, the lake. And as your convoy is moving, you take notice of like movement further up like the hillside. And at first you think it might be an animal, but then you catch note of like a second person or individual on the opposite end. And you very quickly start to realize that there are more than one, possibly more than two, and that this might be an ambush. You've got 6 seconds.
Okay, is this something that other people appear to have picked up on, or
Nobody else seems to have noticed anything yet. Everyone else is still just kind of like in marching order.
or all
Aiden's
the
just kind of in
wagon? I imagine.
the officers riding, the two mercenaries are more or less marching alongside. Aiden is just kind of in the back with the crates.
I think Ignatius will be riding besides the officer, at which point he will stand up and take a very defiant stance, chest puffed up, looking big. He'll take his halberd out and he'll bang it hard as hell into the wagon and shout at the top of his lungs. I'm not actually going to shout since it's 7:30.
Yeah.
These are the provisions of the Silverclaw Company. Come take them at your own folly.
All right. The rest of the two mercenaries on the side are startled, and they kind of like immediately go to like at arms, and the officer's looking around. Aiden's kind of jumped up from where he was laying down in the back, and very quickly noticed that there are figures moving down the hillside towards your wagon. Let me... You watch as a figure slides down the hill from the west, and then from the east, and then from the south, and then 3 more appear from the north, and another one steps out from behind trees to the southwest. And realize there was a lot more here than you initially expected. And there isn't much words being shouted, but they have drawn swords and they are rushing towards the convoy.
Okay, so these aren't just bandits. These guys are organized and not really interested in the whole menacing bit. Huh. Side note, that officer, that's Dragonite from Dota 2, isn't it?
I noticed that when that's the default token, by the way.
Really? Yeah, that's just splash armor for cosmetic.
I saw it and I was like, alright, well, that fits the theme, so I'll keep it. Alright, so an initiative. I think I got everybody in here.
That means I get to use the bonus shield initiative.
You probably have to. I'll probably just add a +2 to you whenever it comes through.
Because it's not equipped, yeah.
Yeah.
Good God above the lot of dice.
The stars align. Fear that
Just put me in
portent.
fucking last place. It doesn't matter what you add to it.
Yeah, even if I add +2, you're still gonna be behind Aiden.
It hurts. I'd like to roll a 1, maybe. It's the fact that it's always 2. It gets to you after a little. It gets to you.
Alright. Where is this music? Here we go. Okay. Since it's mostly me and you, I'm going to try to run through this combat as quickly as possible.
Alright, fair
We'll
enough.
see how it works. Sorry, I gotta move all these tabs of information.
I thought this one tab was pretty rough.
Yeah, I've got like 4. Because you've got so much information to go through. Anyways, this individual will rush towards Aiden straight off the back and attack them. The natural 19. second swing. Also hits. Alright, and then a third swing. The natural one.
You cannot avoid annihilation.
Alright. I think this Devout is going to move over, and she's going to target the officer up top, and she is going to send out a guiding bolt. Uh, 19 will hit. That was a lot of damage, goddamn.
Good lord.
That's a high amount of damage. Alright. Next
Damn
Raider's
near max.
going to engage him. Well, they rolled really well on all their initiatives. That one hits. We'll max on that one too. God, they're rolling really hot.
Okay, guys, I know
Oh my
Ignatius is
gosh.
gone for, you know, a month. Bad news. He's dead.
Also going to rush towards the officer. Miss. Miss. And a hit.
I ain't worried or anything. It's funny.
Much less damage, but something. Alright. Love that none of the Silver Claw have had a time to retaliate yet.
Guys, this isn't a good look for the company.
Alright, this guy's being the fuck up.
Finally.
Yep, 3 misses. Alright. Silver Claw Company Soldier. Let's see, he's gonna go for the longsword. 18 hits. Whoa! Max damage. You notice that when he hits with the longsword, there's a little bit of a fire streak that comes off of it, too.
Cool.
Goes in for his next swing. That one misses, and his third also misses. Oh, officer. Alright, as a bonus action, he is going to shout out orders to his 2 mercenaries, and they're going to get an additional attack. So this one who just swung down here is going to get another swing. For 9 more points of damage. And this one over here is going to get a swing. A little too wide. Let's see. Yeah, and this one is going to procure his lance, and she's basically going to fight from the wagon. Ooh.
You cannot avoid annihilation.
That'll hit. Oh, minimum damage. Oh, another natural one.
You cannot avoid annihilation.
The officer's also fumbling. This one's going to engage you, since you're the one right here.
Oh man, I have forgotten that I need to push the button to talk. It's been
18
that
misses.
long.
17 misses.
Yeah, that ain't it, Chief.
And another 18 also misses. So 3 misses. Soldier's gonna go in for his swings on this raider.
Okay,
Good damage.
I just checked the initiative list, and I do feel it important to inform you that Aiden is named Feral Skulker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna not notice that.
I think you can get a lot of implications going through here.
I kind of figured it out on my own, but I'll just leave that little inkling.
Gosh, this one was popping off. Alright, who's left? Alright, this one's gonna also engage the officer. Two misses, 3 misses. Alright, Aiden's turn.
Fuck, the next up noise made me jump.
He's actually gonna ignore the one that went for him, and he's gonna turn around and try to attack the one that's going for you.
I'm touch?
21. That's a hit. It's 39 points of damage.
Okay, so it's dead, right?
No, he's actually not been hit yet, so he's looking hurt. That wasn't even the sneak attack damage.
Now he's dead.
Oh, that one did subtract for some reason. He's definitely the most hurt out of that. Oh god, I forget that he gets like a second attack. Misses on the second one. Alright, Ignatius!
Really not setting a good tone here tonight, folks. Ignatius will focus on the one next to him. He will take a big ol' swing with his silvered longsword. Give it a test run.
Alright.
It's versatile because he has a shield out. Yes.
That hits.
Alright.
Go ahead and roll a d4 and add that to... I'll add that to the damage. Cool. Nice. Second attack.
Right, I can do that now, can't I?
Yeah, it's been a while. You can multi-attack.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, I mean, theoretically I get multi-attack.
Miss.
Now, this doesn't stop me from doing everyone's favorite little extra doodad, which is called I bite their damn face off.
Alright, natural weapons, let's go. There we go!
Bite their damn face off, as stated previously.
High and low. Oh, he's looking terrible. He is absolutely, like, struggling from both blows from you and, Aiden.
Okay, that was 2 wax, a natural weapon. I could do a bonus action.
I think the bonus action is your natural weapon.
You're right! Doesn't really leave me with much to do. Yeah, I'll just call the turn there. Let me just,
Alright. Just doing a quick health check on everyone.
Oh, yeah, you can ping
Relatively
combatants too. Oh, look at that.
Alright, well, this one doesn't like that Aiden's ignoring him. So he's gonna go and try to attack him again. Oh god.
The stars align. Fear their portents.
And 14 points damage. Natural 19 to hit. God, they're rolling high damage.
Damn!
That one also hits. Alright. This devout is going to probably run over and... Gosh, can't quite get to anyone else over here. She's gonna run over to this person and cast Cure Wounds. I didn't mean to do it twice. No, no. Stop.
The dice, they don't stop coming.
Okay, there's the projectile. Alright, yeah, she's probably just gonna slightly move. Let's try to stay out of the fight. Go ahead and while this is happening, if you want to give me an insight or perception, I can give you a little bit more information on your attackers.
I'm gonna do insight, and you know this. Because I ain't getting perception checks, that's for sure. Okay.
Damn, I'm sorry.
This is just cruel and unusual punishment.
Alright, this mercenary's not looking too hot, especially with all these hits. Alright, this raider's gonna go for this one. The officer, it's a hit. Near max again. That one's not targeting for some reason. Miss. And next attack is natural 20.
The stars align. Fear their portents.
Closer to minimum damage, so not as bad.
Hypothetically worse.
The fact that they all go one after
You
another is
cannot
not great. This guy has been
avoid
rolling dog
annihilation.
shit. I don't think he's hit one attack yet. Yeah, he's his 5th miss. He's just kind of like excited to be here. Yeah, 6 misses in a row. This guy has not landed a single hit.
Can I just like put my hand on his shoulder and like just sit this one out, champ?
Alright, he's gonna go for another longsword attack on these guys that are surrounding him. It's a miss. Also a miss. And a natural 20 in return.
The stars align. Fear their portents.
Decent amount of damage. Alright, officer is going to shout orders again. The 2 mercenaries are going to get another swing. It's a hit. Another hit.
on my hands and knees kissing this guy's feet since he rolled something over a fucking 12.
And now he's gonna go for lances again. It misses. Two misses. And a hit. Officer hasn't been doing too hot either in terms of hits. Alright, so this really ragged one by you and Aiden. Gosh, yeah, he's probably going to commit to the fight.
Okay.
21 misses. .22, but misses. And an 18. Alright. The soldier getting more licks in on this guy and a natural
The stars
20.
align. Fear their portents.
Getting a good hit off on this one. And gonna make another swing at the raider. Natural 16? Alright. A little bit of a lower roll and a third swing. And a miss. Yeah, that guy is also not looking so hot. Going for the officer again, miss.
You cannot avoid annihilation.
And then a 19. And then another miss. Alright, Aiden's turn. He is going to try to finish the guy off that is attacking you. Almost got an natural 20, that was scary. Yeah, he's down.
Have some dice. Go get him, champ.
And he's gonna turn around and do a quick flourish at
Who?
the guy near him, but misses. Alright, you're up. You know the guy who's been desperately swinging to your north is not landing many hits and is also very hurt. The guy to your south is very fresh. Your officer's looking pretty hurt at the moment. And the guy to your far right is also looking pretty hurt.
Okay, alright. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. And then we're gonna do a classic maneuver.
Oh boy.
Do some fire breath, baby.
Yeah, just make sure you place the cone and angle it towards them before you release it.
Oh, I forgot how to do this. Okay, do I click to place and then I move my mouse to angle?
You can, like, I think it's shift or control with the mouse wheel. You don't have to, like, click it immediately. Alright. I will go ahead and make them roll. What is this?
DC 15 dexterity.
It's also not the right damage. Roll 3d6. Three more d6s.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, you're up to 66 now. I need to fix that. And then, what is your d6 for that?
What you mean by that?
What's your DC?
Oh, 15.
15? Okay, so...
Hang on, now that I've said it, I'm not so sure about it.
No, it's on there. It's listed.
Okay.
Yeah, they both fail, so that was 18 points of fire damage.
Good. And hang on, I might have a spell that I want to use. I'm gonna finger point at the fellow to the north of me.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna cast.
Ooh. I think it put it on you, but I will add it to
I
him.
believe it. Wait, no, I'm still at 23 AC.
Yeah, it didn't change your AC, but it did mark you as the target. But I will put it on him. Let's see. Okay, effects. Yep. Okay. Alright, got it. So his AC's up. Alright, anything
I
else?
believe that's all I got.
Top of the round. This guy is going to try to deal with Aiden. That's 2 hits. It's almost max damage again. I'm pretty sure that hits, yep. Alright. Gosh, yeah, seeing you come over here and after being doused with fire, is going to further move away from you, but she's going to try to heal her ally again. Oh, minimum healing. She will actually move a bit further away. He's gonna try to finish off this mercenary. Oh yeah, 26 is gonna hit. Natural 1 will
You
miss.
cannot avoid annihilation.
And that will definitely miss. Alright, so 1 hit and 2 misses. Got another attack on the officer. Natural 1.
You cannot avoid annihilation.
17. That hits. And 21 also hits. Alright, the officer's not looking so good now. Let's see. Alright, he's gonna stay and fight still. Not the smartest guy.
Alright, I can respect that.
Yep.
Wow, dude, just pack it up and go home. My god.
I finally got a hit after so long.
Why am I rooting for him?
It took him, what, 8 swings to get a hit in? And then immediately missed again. So he's gotten 1 hit out of his 3
1
rounds.
to 9? Something like that?
Yeah. Alright. Well, he's gonna keep swinging on this guy who's right on top of him. That hits. That misses. And that hits. Oh. He's looking worse than the Silverclaw Merc is now. The officer is going to issue another attack command. They're going to get another swing. Natural 19. Oh god, he's so close. Yeah, this guy's looking terrible. And then this guy's gonna swing on the
officer, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and he misses. Alright, and then the officer's gonna continue his attack. He's not been having such good luck right now. 19. Okay. Not bad for first attack. Alright. 2 hits. And then a whiff. That one's dead, so it comes to this Merc. See if he can finish this guy off. Because he decided to not run. Natural 4 is going to miss. Oh, he's still up. Just barely.
That should do it.
Oh, yeah. And with that, he is down. And then he's going to move to defend his officer. We'll see if the officer manages to stay up. It's natural 5. Highs and lows. Last attack. Miss. Alright. Seeing how this situation is unfolding, Aiden is gonna bonus action disengage. And he's gonna move up here to help the officer. That hits. And then there is the sneak attack damage. And then the second swing. Half damage, but it doesn't matter, he's down. Alright. Alright, Ignatius, your turn.
You know,
We're
like I
starting to
knew
get
the
scattered.
Womp was gonna come, but it still made me jump. Okay. How damaged does the officer look? Is he like
The officer
one hit
looks
away?
really bad. He looks as bad as this this guy fighting in front of you.
Got it. Okay. Would Ignatius be able to move there, utilizing flight to sort of put him there?
Yeah, you could easily get there without provoking any attacks.
Awesome. Ignatius is gonna get there, and he's gonna clap the officer on the ass and give him some of that lay on hands.
Alright, how many points are you putting in there?
Currently, since technically I'd be level 6, or no, we're still operating on 5.
You're level 5 still, yeah.
Back it, we give him 20.
Alright, he's looking not as bad now.
Let's see, lay on hands is an action. So, I'm already using my concentration. Not much else I could do. Yeah, I think that's Ignatius's turn then.
Alright. Let's see. There's what, 4 of them left? Looking pretty rough. Let's see. Let's see, top of this round. Yeah. Yeah, I will say at this point, the Devout will call out, it's not worth it anymore, and call for them to fall back. And these individuals will skirt back off up into the hillside, leaving their fallen behind. So yeah, the combat draws to a close. The officer kind of gives you a reassuring thanks for the timely heal. Aiden kind of goes around and is like kicking at some of the bodies, making sure they're dead.
Double checking.
Is that all of them?
It doesn't seem like they're staying around. Any idea on who these folk were?
Aiden comes out from behind the wagon. Their Brotherhood. Brethren Raiders. They were clearly after the arms and armor shipment.
They were organized and they knew we were coming?
It would seem so. We weren't aware that they were even operating in Aurea, so this is a surprise to me as it is to anyone.
And this is the first as well. Us moving through here, isn't it?
Yes, this is not good. We're gonna have to let the Commodore know that the supply route is currently compromised. And we weren't quite expecting Brotherhood up here either. Though they did put up a fight, it seemed like they weren't quite ready for us. If you have, like, time, you could probably, like, look over some of the fallen bodies, and you do recognize that each of these individuals are all brethren. Some of which bear the Reparator, mark.
Those were for the combatants in the war as
Yes,
sort of like
those
venom,
were
right?
for, basically soldiers in the Invader Wars, who did service.
Do I recognize some of their fighting styles? Quite organized too. This is certainly going to be an issue if we're going to keep travel through this mountain. Ignatius will like pat them down for any documents, like, oh, hey, we have a note on this Silverclaw movement, blah blah blah.
Do an investigation. See if you can find anything of note. There's only 3 bodies, so there's a chance.
Not even gonna act surprised at the result.
13? Looking over, they don't seem to have any documents on them, at least not from these 3. They do have very similar regalia and insignias. And you've heard Aiden mention them by name as the Brotherhood. But you've not quite heard of this group before, especially an all-brethren group. They seem to mostly keep their identities concealed, except for the one cleric that was clearly trying to, like, provide support in the ambush. She might have had a little bit more of the organizations going. But beyond that and the obvious Reparator marks that you do find, there isn't anything else really of note on their person.
Huh. Well, push them to the side under a tree, and then we can get a move on.
Kind of move them over. The one of the mercenaries kind of like climbs up onto the wagon because he's still pretty hurt from earlier, and he takes a ride for the rest of the day.
Yeah, Ignatius will even so far offer him fucking the last 5 hit points.
From your lay on hands.
Yeah,
He will look up to you fairly gratefully, just kind of nod.
not much left, but this should help.
These are the Silverclaw Company soldiers, by the way.
They are certainly they got a look going on, and I like it.
And then where is? And this was the raiders you were encountering.
Raiders, that's too fancy. Those guys are up to some shit.
Yes. We still have a little bit to go. So, do you want to take a quick break before we continue?
Yeah, I'll go run to the bathroom real quick and
Yeah,
refill my water.
That's kind of what I'm feeling. All right, we will be right back.
Okie dokie, I'm back.
All right, welcome back. All right. So, your group continue to move on for a little bit further until night falls, and then you properly set up a camp to recover from the attack. You do notice that, like, the two individuals, the two mercenaries, are pretty much kind of like tending to themselves with like some first aid kits that have been brought along. As is the officer. The officer was pretty badly hurt, but looks like he will hold up. And you can see Aiden is also kind of like patching a few wounds he sustained. Everyone else besides you were decently hurt. One of the mercenaries got through kind of unscathed.
Ignatius will offer to help with all the medical needs.
Aiden will kind of like just nod and be like, that was very helpful. There was no telling that this attack was going to happen. It was a good thing you were here. We needed the extra hands.
My honor to assist.
Dread to think what these brethren were planning to do with this equipment. They must be holed up in the mountains somewhere nearby.
Brings up bad memories of prior experiences, but I can only imagine.
We'll have to let the Commodore know when we reach Severnport. Also, give you proper introductions. I don't know if you've had the pleasure.
From what I've heard, they sound like an excellent person.
They led many encounters against the invaders back in the war. They control a very well-regulated flotilla.
Surprised they aren't helping us deliver the goods then.
If it were that easy. Anyways, get some rest. We're almost there. And you can go ahead and trick off a long rest for you, since it's going to be quite a bit of travel.
Bada bing. Did that go through? It didn't. Weird, it didn't refill my on hands.
One, two, three, four, five, six, eight. Alright, so it takes a week and a day, to traverse all the way around through Severnport. You again haven't really been that much through Aurea, correct?
Correct. He's got his disposable camera out and he's taking pictures.
Yeah, as you're kind of like traversing around, there's just so many like vast mountainsides, and it's very different from being in Vigneau, where it's mostly hills, and plains, and even in Alamance, where there are mountains, the mountains are relatively not that big or encompassing. These mountains are just kind of all around, and then you reach like the edge where it meets the sea. And you can see like the peninsula where Severnport sits, and it is definitely opened up a lot more in this direction. And this is where kind of like more of the wind chill starts to hit you.
Glad to have that cold resistance armor.
Yeah, and you just kind of like are able to shrug it off a bit, having a little bit more of an innate resistance to the cold, but it gets really cold up here. And it does snow quite a bit.
I gotta say, I know that feeling of going from hills to mountains. Going from Florida to Philadelphia, I'd see roads pass over us as we're driving. I'm like, that's not an overpass. The road's just that high up. Freaked me the hell out.
But with enough time, you do eventually reach Severport. You are stopped at the entrance initially, but as the guards kind of like look over your group, they kind of give you a nod. They don't even seem to inspect the wagon or anything. There seems to be some kind of like knowing glance between them that you're supposed to be let through.
Oh, I love friends in high places.
And the gates open for you. And you arrive. This very vast lodge house encompasses its own harbor where you are able to witness most of the Orion Navy is settled here. This is where a lot of their ships are made, and this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, ports in the Beast World. There are houses of many different sizes as well, as you notice that there is a pretty sizable community of Latines that work here between ferrets and otters. They seem to have a mixture of bringing some of their Venusian shipmaking knowledge up here to Auria to work on the Orion ships. There's also there is also a pretty sizable market here as well. And some of the ships are, for the most part, docked in the harbor. There doesn't seem to be, despite the size of the harbor, there doesn't seem to be as much presence there military-wise as you would expect. Seems oddly smaller.
Probably out at sea, or maybe another shipyard.
Aiden does eventually direct the officer towards the private harbors that the Silver Claw Company have purchased up. And you enter into a somewhat similar area as the one that you found in Edelstan, kind of fenced off. Here you see a lot more scruffer-looking individuals. These are not just people who are hired to like work on the docks. These are people who clearly have been on ships before. They're moving stuff around, but as the wagon is pulled in, they start like shuffling to make extra room so that the cargo can be unloaded. The officer and the two mercenaries kind of like take a moment to just kind of take their leave. Aiden hops off, kind of gives you a curt nod. I imagine the Commodore will want an updated report on what happened on our way over, as well as our successful drop of the shipment in Jaeger Vault. But we made it here intact, so allow me. And he just kind of like leads the way further away from the group as the wagon is being unpacked at the moment. Go ahead and give me one just general perception.
Don't do this to me.
You're gonna get a couple more before this night's over. Gosh, I'm so sorry.
It never ends.
So, you were eventually brought into a much more lavish looking office. This is something that clearly has had time to establish and set up. Whoever has settled into here has made it quite much like home, and home is very over the top. There are plenty of like decorative vases and portraits and some more exotic like flowers and tropical plants. This is someone who is trying to make their time in here very much feel like home.
Okay.
And you see sitting in a rather large and comfy leather chair is a red fox with bright gold eyes and lots of scarring around his ears. His ears are very mangled and torn up. But upon seeing you, he smiles and stands up. Aiden, wasn't expecting you with this convoy, and who is this? This is Ignatius Silverclaw, the Silverclaw Company.
Ignatius will offer a small bow at his name being spoken.
We just arrived from Edelstan. The shipment was dropped off in Jaegervault, and we made it here relatively in one piece. It turns out the Brotherhood are up here now, too. We don't know where or how long, but they were ready for us, so we think this trade route might be compromised. I also bring a message from the quartermaster, and he kind of produces a letter and tosses it across the table towards him. The Commodore looks at it for a moment and picks it up. Is like, the quartermaster could just, use the sending spell for me. And Aiden quickly chimes in. This letter isn't from her particular. This is a summoning from the Trade Lord. In which he immediately opens said letter and starts reading it to himself. You do notice that he, seems to be quite excited from whatever it is that he's procuring from this information. But he kind of, tucks the letter away for a moment and then just returns his attention towards you. Apologies. We're all business here, as it seems. I'm Commodore Benson Crowley, at your service. He will, reach across the table to, extend a hand.
Ignatius will return the favor and give him a firm, but, not exactly cruel handshake, the kind you'd expect.
Quite a griff. I'd expect nothing less from a dragon, of course. Well, it is good that we had extra precautions coming up here. Where does your destinations currently take you, Ignatius?
Neverport was my destination. Truth be told, I came here a bit on a whim.
Well, with this recent enlightenment of news, it seems like we are going to be shipping out here before too long. I imagine more Silverclaw Company will come to help station the harbor here, but the flotilla is needed elsewhere, it seems.
Is that so?
Yes, it'll take myself some time to get the ship accommodated to depart, but if you would wish to reconvene with the rest of your family, in Vigneault, I can accommodate one of my ships from the flotilla, since I will need to be sending an advanced scouting team ahead anyways.
Southbound seems like a good direction for now. Though I may have other arrangements. Such things are in the air as we speak.
Of course. Whatever it is you need. I know the Silverclaw Company are very invested in the Trade Lord's interests, and this meeting, as the sounds of it, is going to be very important. So I imagine they will also be in attendance.
Quite fortuitous indeed. You said it would be hosted in Vigneault, yes?
Yes. Specifically, it is going to be held over in Springboks Flight, just, off the coast of Fristana.
Intriguing. I do hope I'll be able to make it in time. Such distance tends to complicate things.
Well, like I said, I can offer one of my ships since it needs to be heading that way. I imagine, Aiden, you're going to need transport over there, because I don't expect you to be going back all the way through Edostan, especially now that we know Brotherhood are in the area.
Remind me, out of character.
Mhm.
The current party location.
The current party, out of this time frame, would have been still in Aurea. They would have probably gotten to Jaeger Vault, by the time you reach Severport. Uh, in the future, though, quite distantly, they are in Vinyo.
Okay, because I think it'd be safe to assume that with sending available, they'd be able to keep each other up to date on their location.
Yes. I will say Norman has been giving you quite a few, or Charlotte has been giving you quite a few sending messages. I don't remember them exactly word for word, and I don't know which ones were fully detailed. They can go over those with you as needed.
There was
But
like
that info,
one that had details, and it was sorted out in the moment.
yeah, but their general headings and where they're going and things that are going on are being kept up to you. So you're getting updates from the Delving crew from time to time. Whether or not you're able to respond when those sendings come out is kind of like up to you. So, but you have like a general heading.
Okay, yeah, Ignatius will. It's really difficult to like just make travel arrangements to head that way because of how flexible the movement is at the moment. I'm gonna step back in a moment. I just need to wash my hands real quick.
Okay.
And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Difficult to put into words, but yeah, just like making travel arrangements so that Ignatius will end up in the same place at roughly the same time.
Well, this extension you're being given by Crowley will end up putting you in that direction out of character.
Then Ignatius will gladly accept it as a offer to enjoy the Commodore's company and see what he has to offer the Silverclaw.
He seems very gracious at the opportunity. He does inquire about your encounter with the Brotherhood, though, on the way over. And just kind of generally asks, so, how have you had previous encounters with the Brotherhood before?
What did Ignatius have as part of Fighting Brethren?
Not particularly. You've never heard of this group. Not by name, anyways. But
Name is unfamiliar to me.
their fighting styles seems to be very similar to how the invaders enacted ambushes.
The name is unfamiliar, but the methodology is all the same.
So you've at least had enough experience in the war to recognize where they come from.
Indeed.
Yes, well, unfortunately, they're the remnants of the invaders still present here in the Beast World.
I was a cleric, a fairly competent one.
Very surprising, but at the same time, they have had plenty of time to establish themselves. They're based out of Arneria. As far as we know, they've made some annoyances with us over in Vigneault, but we never expected them to be this far north. So they've apparently caught wind and are coming up here to bother us now, too. As they know we're the only ones that pose a threat to them.
Oh, is that a claim to fame you'd like to make?
No, just the duty that we've decided to uphold, since most of the beast world would rather pretend the invaders are gone. And we still know they're here.
Internally, Ignatius is fucking disgusted and wants to punch this man. But he will give him a clap on the shoulder and a nod of his head. And good on you, lad, for being racist.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to be surrounded by, like, Nazis all the time.
It really gets to you after a little bit.
Yeah, he seems very pompous and, like, full of himself. Kind of like...
Ego, I will play him too.
Yeah, he very much at, like, one point kind of, like, recounts, like, a war story where he was using his fleet to, like, ambush the invaders along the shorelines, since they originally landed in Vigneault. You can insight check him as well.
I mean, I'm gonna just immediately think he's lying and this is some dude bragging about war stories, but I will insight.
With a dirty 20, you can tell from the way he's framing these stories that they're a little too dramatic, even for war stories. You kind of get this sinking suspicions that if he's seen combat with invaders, it wasn't like this. This may be entirely false.
Ignatius will humor him.
Yes.
Yeah, you go, buddy. Yeah, you sure got them.
Yeah, he, much to your annoyance, he does find some constituents in the fact that you also served in the war, and is essentially trying to bond with you a little bit, and just like sharing stories from back then. There's not too many in particular that he tells. He mostly just mentions and kind of like glorifies like the retaking of Southwinds, which was the last city that was taken back from the invaders.
I'm gonna try and traumatize him with a particularly morbid story.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna say that because we already kind of decided that Ignatius got up to some very, very concerning things near the end.
Mm-hmm.
Ignatius will play it up, be like, yeah. So, found this convoy of civilians one time. Just gonna intentionally horrify him, even make up a few little things, just to really make him regret talking.
Okay. Do an intimidation. Oh.
Please.
Gosh.
Okay. I'm okay. Do I fucking use? I don't have any inspiration anywhere. I don't know.
Luckily, this man has no insight. Alright, he doesn't seem as intimidated, but he's definitely, like, enthralled, just kind of, like, listening to you. I think you unfortunately got his attention, more or less.
Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. I'll go even deeper on the boat next time. Guys, bad news. I accidentally befriended a racist.
He kind of, like, pops open and kind of, like, shares a drink with you as well. And, more or less kind of, like, dismisses Aiden. Just kind of, like, doesn't seem to care that he's there. He's found somebody who is interesting, and not only offers you a drink, but says that you can, stay on the ship as kind of like a place to sleep for now. And he will try to get a crew together to head out possibly first thing in the next morning so that you can arrive on time.
I hate that I have to endear myself to this man.
This is unfortunately the position you started to play, so
It really is. I mean, like,
you just didn't know how deep it was gonna go.
I didn't think it would go this far. But here I am. Maybe I'll tell him about how many human babies I killed next episode. Who knows?
Well,
This will
after
give a sort of sympathetic look to his poor traveling companion who's being sent off. And also a look of, oh, fuck me, what have I done?
I've left myself alone with the super racist.
Oh, man. You know what they say about racists. The third one always gets you.
What?
The third one always gets you. I don't know.
Alright. Anyways. We will skip the unpleasant conversations, and, you are given accommodations aboard one of the ships, and, along with Aiden as well. Aiden has joined you. The two Silver Claw mercenaries and the officer have, more or less been stationed here at this harbor, so they're gonna be sticking around for the most part. Aiden will, lightly kind of, like, jab your leg with an elbow, because he can't really reach you.
Yeah.
Your talk with the Commodore went well. He seemed to really like you.
A little too much.
He doesn't get to talk too much about the war with people, and for some reason, that's what excites him the most.
Won't lie, it is a bit concerning, but I make do with it, I suppose.
Yes, well, his actual participation in the war kind of varies every time he tells it.
I don't think that man ever saw combat.
Oh, he definitely did, just not in any favorable way.
Regardless, his help is appreciated, I suppose.
He is one of the Trade Lord's most trusted. Part of his inner circle, so
Ignatius will sort of lean in and whisper, is he actually good at his job?
his job is mostly to command the Navy for the Trade Lord. And he does have a sizable force, kind of gesturing towards the other ships that you have parked out here, which are 4 other Vinyoshan kind of like, not battleships, but they're like closer to like destroyer class ships. And then gestures further out where you can see a very big like ship made of iron. That is easily like twice the size of most of these ships.
Well, I can't argue with these results.
Yes, well, his request to have this Quasar ship constructed was quite a request. I'm surprised the Trade Lord had endeared him as much, but he seemed to like the idea himself. That ship will definitely put a lot of fright into any brotherhood we run into, should they decide to mess with them. But for now, it's just us and this one ship. I imagine once we get down to Vigno, we will have different ways to go. It
Yes,
will.
I imagine.
It'll be some time since Commodore is going to have to follow to get to the meeting, and his ship is still being worked on. He's not going to arrive until that ship is done.
I'm
But the
sure we'll make quite the entrance pulling into the port.
Yes, well, the quartermaster will be leaving from Edelstan and meeting us down there, as will the warden from his post in Arnaria. And that just leaves the superior, wherever the hell he's currently hiding.
Ignatius just speed ran meeting every executive in the fucking group, and then it's just like, yeah, my parents aren't gonna like if I show up, are they? This
Oh.
is.
Very interesting. Very interesting times, at least. What is your mother's plans? Do you know?
My mother's plans? Not gonna talk to her in quite some time, really.
Ah, that's right. I guess some catching up is needed. Well, she'll be happy to hear you've already done quite a service for us.
What I'm here to do. And truth be told, this new, I can't even call it a scheme, this enterprise of her seems quite efficient and effective.
Yes, well, if we're gonna rid ourselves of invaders, we need to be well armed.
Right, yeah, almost forgot for a second that Aiden was also super racist. Oh, I'm talking to this guy. Yeah. All right. Indeed, a shame we couldn't have finished it sooner, but alas, here we are.
The trade lord's
Gross.
calling in everybody. There must be important reasons for that. So, exciting.
Maybe they're just showing off a new boat.
I think they would do more than show off the Commodore's fleet.
I'd hope so.
Well, it's starting to get late, so we'll get some rest and have the ship head off in the morning. I'll let the first mate know.
Of course, until tomorrow, Aiden.
He just kind of gives a very curt wave before heading into the ship. And you now realize that you are on a ship full of racists.
I almost said it could be worse, but I don't know.
I don't know, it's kind of up there.
I could be stuck on an island with racists and no boat.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah, Ignatius will just keep up his nose in the air, very supremacist veneer. And
Alright.
internally, he will be cringing the entire time. Howdy,
Well.
Aiden. Discover any new, slurs lately?
Oh my god. Well, let's see. It wasn't a well into your slur response, no. The next morning comes, you're fed, and the first mate kind of introduces themselves to you as being one of Commodore Crowley's most trusted. And they mentioned that the ship is going to be setting off for Prestana, as that's going to be the closest port where they can depart discreetly. And we will now begin
Hang on.
our very long journey south.
Where the hell's Prestana?
where the party is.
Oh God, yeah, yes, okay.
This one shot is about getting you there.
Works for me.
So, I will ask one time just to see if anything comes of it. Do you interact with the rest of the crew at all on your many days journey across the sea?
Ignatius will interact with them insofar as trying to get a personality feel. Like, the Commodore is a pompous shithead who just stolen valor doesn't even begin to describe it.
All right. Just kind of like gauging the crew and like talking with some people. You can tell that every person that is on the ship has served with the Commodore before. They, much to your annoyance, speak highly of him, despite such. And many of which say that they served with him during the Invader War. And if you do ask around enough, you do learn that some of the original crew that are a part of this flotilla, which is not as many as the bulk of the crew, so probably like half, maybe 40%, were originally a part of his crew during the war, and they mentioned that their ships went to Southwinds to try to reclaim it from the invaders, and they lost their fleet and were captured, essentially. That includes the Commodore.
Funny.
So they were more or less kind of like kept prisoners during the war.
Oh, you have no idea how happy that makes me.
Eventually, after, gosh, an unknown amount of time.
Long enough.
Yeah, long enough. You do eventually arrive to Soursport. Along the Strait of Glass. This is the canal that separates separates Arneria from Alamance. But also acts as a small little staging port. The ship does have to dock here to resupply for the time being. At which point Aiden says, if you want to get any kind of food that's not being cooked on the ship, this is the time to do it before we go back out to sea. I imagine the chef on the ship is doing their best, but is kind of limited in what you can eat repetitively.
Doing their best, but you know, Ignatius will grab a bite to eat on land.
Alright. While you are kind of like perusing around one of the markets, I know you're gonna hate me for this, but give me a perception check.
Okie dokie!
That is good enough. With a 15, you take notice of a suspicious individual amongst the crowd. And the thing that tips you off almost immediately is you see what appears to be, and this is maybe because you spent so much time on a ship full of racists, what you think you see is an invader helmet on a individual, pretty decent distance from you at the moment. But they appear to be like watching the ship in the port.
And this isn't just like a idle curiosity of, ooh, a boat. This is, I've been waiting for this boat.
Like they're focused pretty much on that ship.
Okay, you said they were wearing an invader helmet. Any other like details to gather about them?
Yes, they are pretty well built, relatively darkish skin, obviously a brethren. Uh, they have red and orange markings, that kind of like go up their arms, and, sort of like a red kind of like cloth wrap that kind of goes around their left arm as well. And they have something like strapped to their back. It kind of looks like a shield, but not really. It's a very weird thing. If you had to guess, it looks like a curio of some kind, but you have no idea what purpose.
Okay, alright. Um, huh. Ignatius will strike up a conversation with them. The approach is as such. They're gonna walk at them from out of their line of sight, and they're gonna introduce it like, mighty strange curio you have there, stranger. Mind if I ask? Mind if I look? Mind if I. What's a polite way to. That's a mighty interesting curio you have. Mind if I look?
Okay. You get this individual's attention, but only once you've gotten pretty close to them at this point. And they turn around, not in like any kind of shocked manner. They almost kind of react in a way as if they've gotten this question before. And they look over towards you, and you can't really see their face. You can see their eyes because of the helmet.
It's a look of disgust, I know.
But they look at you, and there seems to be sort of like a relatively calm presence. Ah, apologies. Didn't see you there. Yes, my curio is quite a spectacle. Here, and he kind of pulls it off his back for a moment, and you see what is very weirdly look like a wound type spool of metal, and he grabs a certain part of it and kind of like gives it a solid yank, and it quickly unfolds into what looks to be a bow.
Just an ingenious little device, isn't it?
Yes, it's quite helpful, and it's very nice for staying compact and very lightweight when I do my dungeon scouting.
Delver! Yeah,
Uh,
nice to meet one in kind as well.
oh, uh, I'm not quite a delver. I'm a scout, but I do appreciate meeting others. Well, you coming through towards Arnaria, are you?
Heading for Vinyo, and Ignatius will like offer his hand to handshake. Ignatius Otratus, Delver extraordinaire.
Ah, nice to meet you. Well, I get inquiries about my curio quite often. It's, quite special to me. I tend to, keep it with me everywhere I go. It's been very helpful in my scoutings. I try to get as much information for delving crews as I can procure in a single run.
I would have liked for Ignatius to actually pull the fella in a little close during the handshake and whisper to him. I know this looks bad, but I'm on board that ship that you're watching.
He very, very discreetly gives you like a two-finger gesture to like move over to the side real quick.
Ignatius will go along with it.
He kind of like very gently kind of leads you closer towards another stall where he kind of like pulls you around the side, not very forcefully or such, and kind of like gives a quick glance around just to see if anyone's looking, and then looks back to you. You're on that ship?
I was once a Silverclaw, but I have disavowed that life, and through circumstances that are quite complex, I appear to have wound up as part of a convoy.
Wait, Silverclaw are on that ship.
He will tap his armor and just sort of gesture to the color.
That's unusual. I thought that was one of the Commodores. ships.
It is.
Oh. Well, this is very complicated. Do you know the Commodore?
Tragically, yes. Or at least I've
There's
made his acquaintance.
There's a small chuckle from it. Well, this is extremely awkward. This is not where I wanted to be. Well, shit.
If you want to firebomb the ship, feel free.
That's not why I'm here. I was sit here to eliminate a target. A very particular individual aboard that ship.
I see.
A Fennec.
I'm going to say a name. Aiden.
He nods.
I know him. I don't like him. He's good at fighting. But I don't like him.
He's a prowler. He's one of the ferals.
The good one at that.
Yes, unfortunately, the prowlers are very competent. And he is well known among the Brethren for his, well, less than favorable means of capturing people.
I know this is difficult to believe and quite sudden, but I am with your cause.
I have no doubt you seem to carry yourself much more respectably.
The past simply caught up with me for a little bit, and now I have to ride a boat full of racists down the coast.
Well, hopefully when you reach your destination, you can part ways, hopefully for a good time.
It certainly is the plan. Now, you're here to kill Aiden, is that correct?
Yes, part of my prerogative.
Is that something you intend to do soon?
As the ship is leaving.
I would like to help.
Well, just make sure he's on the deck of the ship, and I'll do the rest.
Make sure he's on the deck of the ship. I imagine you're going to position up somewhere and take quite the shot at him.
He kind of just gestures to his bow again, which he has now, like, collapsed back into its smaller form.
Figured as much. I will... What time do you need him out on the deck?
Just when the ship is departing. So as long as he's up on the deck, I should be able to take my shot.
I can arrange that.
No, it's not kind of easy asking for something like this, but this
Aiden
person is
a terrible person.
worse than you can realize.
I've only known him for a few days, but if what you say is true, and I do not doubt the validity of it, I can only imagine.
What got you wound up in the Ferals to begin with?
But the Ferals are working with the Silverclaw Company. I was once a part of that company, and that past still comes with me. And I simply ended up with the Silverclaw once more. I was trying to figure out just what they were doing. And as part of that, I stuck with a convoy, or a caravan into a convoy.
We got word about a failed attempt at a raid on a convoy further north. I take it that
Ignatius
was...
will flinch.
You alright?
3 of them were killed.
Sad, but they knew the risks going into that. They were hoping to procure the convoy to at least stop their advancements.
I don't know how useful this is, but Ignatius will then give him information about, like, where the stuff was dropped off.
And, like, the routes that you were given as well.
Oh yeah, Ignatius will spill the fucking beans about the layout of Edelstan, what was going on in Severport, the other locations that are being scouted. He'll tell him about the fucking Tersoli mines and all that shit. He is gonna. This guy better pull out a notebook.
He seems to be taking it all in and just kind of like listening, nodding. Just seems to be mentally compartmentalizing it. This is all very helpful stuff. I'll definitely make sure to let Baptiste know about all this. You said your name was Ignatius, was it?
Indeed.
Well, Ignatius, consider yourself a good friend of the Brotherhood.
He will offer his hand forward for a real handshake this time, not for one to like pull him in close. I do what I can to make up for the mistakes of the past, and if this is one way of writing things, then I will do it.
Hearing you say that, he takes off his helmet, and you can see his face this time. And I think his eyes are green. Can't remember my own characters. I can't tell in this picture. Anyways.
Green it is!
Yeah, pretty sure they're green. But he nods, and he kind of like gestures to the helmet, which he has repainted. The normal Invader helmet, is black. His is red. I carry around that burden with me as well. It's good to see that I'm not the only one who's trying to make up for the past.
Mistakes have been made, but I seek to right them. Such is the nature of war.
He shakes your hand as well. I'm Duo, by the way.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
And you will get the first look at your brother and ally.
There they are! I know it's a bad look coming out here wearing a mercenary company's armor and being on the same boat as Ferals, but well, I suppose I'm undercover. It's complicated.
I understand. It's got to be a very difficult position to be in.
Commodore kept going on about war stories. He's a nasty man.
A lot of them are fairly nasty, but probably none as bad as the Grand Feral himself.
Just to confirm, that's the one-armed guy we met before, right? No. What?
My brain's like one-armed guy. Who dis?
At the recruitment center with.
Oh, you're thinking of
Vegas.
Vincent.
Vincent. Yes. Okay.
No, that's the leader of the Thieves' Armories.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Where was I? Right. Yes.
You definitely haven't heard the name Grand Feral. You've definitely heard the name Trade Lord Treyarch a lot.
Oh, I sure hope those two aren't the same person. Ooh. Ooh. Noted. Okay, yes, I will get Aiden on the rear of the vessel as the boat is leaving. I'll offer him some sort of conversation and make sure he's in the right place at the right time.
Alright, thank you, you're making my job a bit easier. But don't do anything that would compromise yourself too much.
Frankly, I would accept a fight at this point.
Alright, well, it's best you're not seen with me for too much longer, so how about you head back out, and I'll leave in a few minutes.
Are there any restaurant recommendations while we're here, though?
Yeah, he'll like point out a couple of different like food stalls that are set out across the God, what is this called again?
Tourist port?
Well, not Source Port specifically, but the wall, because the wall extends over
the glass.
here.
I don't know.
People are killing me right now. Hold on. Ba-ba-ba-ba. The causeway. That's what it is.
Got it. All right. Get
This
some
entire
bite to eat.
stretch, yeah. So yeah, he'll point out some good places to eat on the causeway. And
Yeah, Ignatius will go eat.
you will take time and enjoy the meal that you're partaking in, knowing that somebody's about to die here before too long. There is a chance you could have left and this would have happened and you would have had no clue what was going on.
That would have been hilarious. Damn, Aiden got shot. Anyways.
Alright, so yeah, you head back to the ship. They stay docked for most of the day, mostly getting resupplies, but as night begins to fall, they do eventually start to head out. What do you do to get Aiden's attention?
I forgot to hit the fucking mic button again. Okay. Ignatius will offer a drink to company, and he's glad to be working with a fellow professional and would love to exchange a few words on, I don't know, war stories and how much we hate humans. Right, brethren.
Alright, with the offer of the drink, he decides to accompany you. I imagine you just kind of lead him up towards, like, the back of the ship, where it's fairly exposed.
Exposed, quiet, just, you know, the kind of place one could enjoy a drink quietly.
Yeah, he comes up there, just kind of, like, sits up over onto the railing, where it's kind of, like, easier to, like, see. And, takes the drink. Well, I wasn't expecting you to particularly warm up to me, but I guess all the time we've spent has been well.
Anyone I share combat with on the battlefield, you saved my skin, I saved yours. It's only fair we exchange a drink.
Respectable. It is very rare to find good downtime with how busy we get.
I can only imagine how much there is to do.
Kind of like just raises a toast to the glass and starts to drink. Give me one more perception check. This DC is pretty low.
You're teasing me.
Hey.
Thank God.
You'll hear something like way off in the distance. Like way off in the distance. Your eyes kind of like glance back towards the causeway. You're probably about God. You're not quite a mile out yet, but you're starting to get there. And you like hear the faintest sound and you're not entirely sure if it came from that direction or not.
Oh, that's a whistle of an arrow.
Yeah, and the next thing you know, you hear just a big thunk sound. And if you glance back towards Aiden, he is like in the middle of trying to drink as like an arrow is like stuck through like the side of his neck, and he's kind of like clutching at it now. And like part of his drink is spilling out.
Is there anyone else on the back with us at the moment, or are we secluded?
No, it's just you two.
Ignatius will reach down, touch him on the bottom of his foot, and lift him over, and just send him over the edge.
He glances towards you with a shocked expression before he just tumbles over and disappears into the water.
And with that, he'll get rid of the other drink and just look like he's drinking by himself there.
Gosh, that was cold.
He'll even wink towards the horizon where he thinks his new friend might be.
His new friend who has a very dangerously long reach.
Yeah, Ignatius is a little unironically scared of what just happened.
There's like no way to see where that came from because the causeway is such a like packed area. Like finding that is looking for a very specific needle in a stack of needles. But eventually over time, you do eventually make it further out into the Gulf. There are inquiries occasionally from other people on the ship asking if, like, you had seen Aiden around recently.
Haven't seen the fellow since we left.
It takes, I'd say, probably another week, maybe a little over a week, before eventually you arrive towards what appears to be a very familiar city, I imagine to you. The city of Sin, Pristana.
Home sweet home.
The ship kind of like pulls over into the dock for the time being, and the first mate mentions, I haven't seen Aiden around. I don't know if he departed back at Soursport or what happened. But
He's one of those skulking types. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a new mission or something.
It could be possible. He could have gotten a new word. Either way, we're to hold our position here for now. So, you're welcome to stay on the ship if you need. Otherwise, I imagine there are plenty of accommodations you can find within the city if needed.
Oh, we'll have to see if the family's estate is still occupied or if we've sold it for another one.
Alright, well, we'll make sure to keep in touch. The ship will remain here until at least the rest of the flotilla arrives, and then we will march off to Springbok's flight. I guess we'll see you there.
Till then?
And you step off the ship, finally, free to yourself, and now entering into Pristana. You journey through the city for a bit before you start to feel more of a sense of calm. Like, it's not just a city you're familiar with because of your experience. It's also the fact that you know that you've gotten here from quite a distance away, and you don't quite know where your crew is exactly. But you do know that something big is going down, and hopefully you can find them here soon, because there's no telling what the future ahead holds.
Oh, ominous.
And I believe that is how we're going to bring this one shot to a close.
And I imagine we'll start in the next one tomorrow with Ignatius arriving.
Thursday, but yes. We'll see how
Tomorrow.
that...
Did I say tomorrow? God, today's Tuesday, isn't it?
It's Tuesday. But is it Thursday yet?
I don't know at this point, honestly.
Alright, well, for those watching home, you only have a few days wait before our next episode comes out, episode 39. Ignatius rejoins the party.
Finally.